If your goal is the centralization of power, if your goal is one-party rule, if your goal is to have an iron-fisted control over society, and that is their goal, you don't care if you change the citizenry. You don't care if there's violence for a period of time. You don't care about any of these things. What did Obama call it? The fundamental transformation of America. Take him at his word. That's exactly what they're doing, and that's exactly what this is about. You see, the Democrat Party operatives, the Democrat Party, has more in common with the Marxists than they do with the founders. Hence their people tearing down the symbols of America, hence their people attacking the principles of America. This goes back even before, but especially to Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, first he thought an all-powerful presidency would deliver them the kind of a egalitarian, re-engineered society and re-engineered human beings that they were striving to create. Then they decided no. Why? Because the president is still subject to elections. And he writes about these things. And he finally decides on the judiciary because it's unelected. And in addition to the judiciary, this whole idea of this massive bureaucracy, call it the administrative state, call it the swamp, or whatever you will, comes out of the late 1800s. Comes out of Wilson, who was a so-called progressive intellectual. John Dewey, many others, who took Marxism and took Hegelism, which I'm not going to get into right now, we've got enough on the table. Hegelism, Marxism, a little bit of Rousseauism, doesn't matter. They took these ideologies coming out of Europe. In one case, in the case of Hegel, to defend the Prussian Empire, fascism. In another case, Marx, who takes Hegel and kind of rewrites it and rejiggers it into what becomes communism, or what we call now Marxism. And Rousseauism, just a thumbnail sketch, who really comes before the two of them, and his view is that centralized government, in order to have a real communal society in the best interest of all the people, you need to effectively surrender your free will and your individualism to the state. And we create this lovely state of nirvana, this paradise, which of course we know isn't the case. So you've got Rousseau, Hegel, Marx. But what affects America is that a party, the Democrat Party, decided to embrace that ideology, or these ideologies, if you will. These ideologies, the Democrat Party has never really been into Americanism with the Confederacy and all the rest of it. But they've taken these, the intellectuals have, and they've sort of re-imaged them and have Americanized them. Now, you know I wrote that book, American Marxism, but this goes beyond that. This goes to an issue related to the word, the principle, the term power. Power is about force. Power is about coercion. Power can be used in a positive way, and it can be used in a negative way. So what I've done in this book on power is I've created a whole nomenclature and a whole thought process, a sort of philosophical approach to this word power, and then I apply it and I give it words and characterization to make it easier to understand and follow what's taking place. Now, let's circle back. I will do more on this book as it gets closer to its release. And by the way, if I don't say it, nobody else will. You can pre-order your copy at Amazon.com right now. And it is discounted. And it's under $24. So it's a perfect Father's Day gift. It's not available yet, but you can give your father, your husband, your grandfather, put a note in their card and let them know it's coming. It's a great gift. I mean, it's really, the value, it's really well priced. And when it comes out on July 29th, it'll wind up at the door, which is wonderful. And we'll get into this more later, but I want to now apply this to what's going on in LA, all these violent activities taking place, the burning of the American flag, the carrying of other flags, and so forth. The point is, if your goal is the centralization of power, if your goal is one-party rule, if your goal is to have an iron-fisted control over society, and that is their goal, you don't care if you change the citizenry. You don't care if there's violence for a period of time. You don't care about any of these things. What did Obama call it? The fundamental transformation of America. Take him at his word. That's exactly what they're doing, and that's exactly what this is about. So these violent acts, these riotous acts, the attacks on Jews, the burning of the American flag, all of these things together and much more are evidence right in front of our eyes of this fundamental transformation that's taking place with the use of power. The evidence is right in front of us, but too many people don't know what the evidence means. And that's what I'm trying to explain. Now let's take a look at some of this. Here we have ABC World News Tonight, June 10th, just the other day, showdown in LA over immigration protests as Trump defends sending Marines and troops. So the media, the Democrats, come to the defense of the rioters. They lie about what the rioters are doing, even though your eyes see what's taking place. The media give them air cover. The Democrat Party attacks the man, Donald Trump, who's defending our institutions, who's defending the Constitution, who's defending the civil society, which is what they want to take down. Not just the people doing it, but the people defending it. Go.
Good evening. It is great to have you with us here on a very busy Tuesday night. And we begin tonight with the tense standoff in Los Angeles after those sweeping ICE immigration raids sparked protests. A massive military response from President Trump. Tonight, more than 4,000 members of the California National Guard activated by the president, not the governor, and now 700 active.
Stop. This snide insinuation of his opinion activated by the president, not the governor. Very, very interesting. You know, in some of these southern states during the period of segregation, about a half a century ago or less, we had presidents who activated the National Guard without the governor. In fact, we have presidents who did more than that. One of them sent in the 82nd Airborne, another one sent in the Marines to open up schools that were segregated by these segregationist governors. They didn't ask the governor for their permission. And so this guy, who's got an IQ of a snail, he makes these comments, these snide remarks, but he's part of the problem. Go ahead.
Tonight, more U.S. troops are now activated for Los Angeles than in Iraq and Syria.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What does that mean? And what do they send in? 700 Marines? And what have they done? They've done nothing. They're backup in case they're needed. More Marines were sent than in Iraq. And what did he say? Syria? Mm-hmm. They're trying to create the impression that Donald Trump is a dictator. He sends in the National Guard without the governor's permission. He sends in more Marines than we have in Iraq and Syria. I don't think we have any left, or very few. And so they purposely write this up to create an impression and an image like that. Again, why are they doing this? They want Trump to fail. They want law enforcement to fail. They want the people to hopefully elect a Democrat next time, but regardless, they're defending their constituents. These people. Go ahead.
Costing American taxpayers $134 million.
So in 2 or 3 run-on sentences, he compares to what's going on with Iraq and Syria. He says that the governor wasn't involved, and he says it's $130-some million. Not once in the first couple of run-on sentences does he talk about the violence, the arson, the damage, the attacks on the cops, that most of them are illegal aliens carrying a Mexican flag. That doesn't even come into the first 2 or 3 run-on sentences. It's an attack on Trump, an attack on our institutions, an attack on law enforcement.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.